We're just a couple of nerds getting sidetracked with side quests. I'm Adam.
I'm Kaya, and every day is a new side quest.
Hello, wanderers, and welcome back to the Forgotten City. We are in the caves underneath the Greek temple of Demeter, and we're looking for signs of people, whether Kabash, whether Scintilla, whether whoever the hell is back here. Maybe even Naevia. Maybe this somehow connects to the temple up ahead or up on the mountain. But we are going to explore it because I need answers. And I'm hoping that we can find something. There's a lot of Greek things apparently in this cavern, temple, cave, whatever. Which I don't know what that means necessarily. It's a far down hole. I honestly don't know where this is going. Ask the old man if he's seen Kabash. I feel like he is Kabash, if I'm being honest, but...
Come and join me by the fire.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name?
I'm Adam. Who are you?
It's a sincere pleasure to
Are you
meet
Kabash?
Tell me, what brings you all the way down here?
I'm looking for Kabash.
Ah, Kabash. I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I've been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you.
I mean, I'm an archaeologist, not a philosopher.
Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule?
It's a weird question, old man. Either you know, or you know you're a god, because fucking gods like to disguise themselves and have moral discussions for some reason. But yes, it is Pluto, god of the underworld.
Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization.
Which, are you Pluto?
Their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue?
Sure.
Wonderful. Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
I'm going to think of this from an actual philosophical point of view, which, not that I'm qualified, but I have taken courses on philosophy. And I want to say it's a complex question.
You are an overthinker too. We're the same then.
I mean, you can't be a philosopher if you're not an overthinker. That is the base of philosophy, is it depends.
Down here with the Golden Rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult.
It is?
Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences.
That's fair.
So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution.
It could.
So to navigate
very much
this
so.
maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd say that's a fair point, though, because if it's the god that's running this, whose version of right and wrong?
That is an excellent question, and it leads directly to my next line of inquiry. So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct? which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing.
Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing? I don't think there is.
Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet?
Suppose we just haven't figured it out yet. I think there's no such thing as a correct morality. Kind of agree with that one.
So is it up to each of us to decide what right and wrong mean to us individually? Or must we simply follow the laws and customs of whichever community we're in?
Decide for ourselves. I think we need to follow the laws and customs of our community. I mean, both could be right and both can be wrong. Again, basis of philosophy in my expertise, my experience is it depends. So in general, I feel like we need to decide for ourselves.
So if a man feels that stoning to death his unfaithful wife is right, then is it right?
No, but I mean, the flip side of that argument, if you follow the laws of the community could think that stoning an unfaithful wife to their death is right, which you're following the community, so therefore you're still following that same example. Again, it depends on the situation. That's philosophy.
I agree, but why? Didn't you just say right and wrong depends on the individual?
If he feels it's right to kill his wife, then he's confused or sick. Fine, I take that back. I mean, I don't take it back, it just depends. And I don't want to immediately say they're confused or sick. They could just be a terrible person. You're not giving me enough answers, old man. I don't want to take anything back.
I see. So you get to decide right from wrong. The people who see things differently are not allowed. What makes you special?
Empathy, it's the cornerstone of human morality. I mean, I kind of agree empathy is a very important thing that cannot be overlooked or overstated.
Empathy, the emotion? Let me ask you this. Imagine you were forced to choose.
Did not expect to be
between
into a
death of your
philosophical
spouse
debate with a
and
video
death of
game right
two
now,
innocent
but that's where we're at.
strangers.
That's what we're
Knowing there would be
doing.
no legal consequences. Who would you mark for death?
Okay, now you're just giving me the trolley problem. Like, two strangers or your spouse, which is, you know, the more emotional connection or the greater good, or not greater good, more people, you know, less people die if you choose your spouse. So like you know, if it was just 1 versus 2, you would choose the one to die because that's the least casualties, but you're introducing that emotional component by making it be your spouse. So then you try to think, is that one person more important than the 2 people? I don't know. In general, I would say, I don't know. So much of it depends, and even then it's, you know, philosophy is so abstracted from personal experience to where you can even theorize about these things, where it's like if you were actually in that situation, you'd probably react differently. But
Of course, everyone would. Our empathy, like a siren song calling us away from our true path, would lure us toward the greater evil. Can such a beguiling thing be a reliable cornerstone for anything, let alone the perfect moral code?
I suppose not, if you're saying empathy is evil, I think is what you're saying.
My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong.
I mean, I agree with that.
If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them.
I agree with that.
And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives.
Yeah,
In
you're probably right.
mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force.
I mean, I
such
wouldn't
as
call
the
this a
Golden Rule.
utopia.
This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all.
I agree.
I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring
I still,
me, man.
okay.
I would be happy to
I
answer your
would like to know who you are, but what's your
You
story?
mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story.
I'm listening.
I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One
Did the
night,
drunk
I found
mercenary
myself in
kill
a
you?
tavern in an
That's my
argument with a
guess.
drunk mercenary. It became heated. He drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends.
Did you get
and
into a
learned what I
philosophical
could,
debate
quickly
with
realizing
the
our
boatmen?
little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our
Hades?
days hidden from Hades' tyranny.
I don't say Hades. You mean Pluto?
They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto.
I mean, I know
Long
they're
before
similar,
that,
but you're
my
essentially saying they
people
are
called
the
him
same.
Hades.
The hermit philosopher.
My
All right.
generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. Why can't you tell me your name, though?
I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still
I
alive.
mean, that's fair, I guess. So where's everyone else?
I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago,
Yeah, we'll get to
I'd not
Kabash in a
seen
second.
another
I have
person
more
for
questions
many
I need
years.
answers. How have you survived down here?
Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation, so I like to imagine arguments where I argue both sides. But like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner.
That's fair. Let's talk about something else.
As you wish.
Yeah, let's just go down the line. Do you know a way out of here?
Ha! If I did, would I be living like this?
Fair point. What do you think about the Golden Rule? You know, Mr. Philosopher.
Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're toying with
I mean, I know we did, but I'm kind of going down the line. Do you know where I can find a plaque that was removed from the obelisk?
You seek the plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription.
Yeah, that's the one.
It is a cursed object, and I would be happy
Kabash
to
took
give
it? God damn it.
if Kabash had not already taken it.
Where is Kabash?
I will tell you, but you may find him hostile.
What?
To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things.
Is he
you
the
must
dude
know.
in the
Very
thing?
few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek.
So I wasn't far
The
off then
architecture,
by,
the temples,
you know,
and
using the
people.
Greek
When the
terminology, so to
Romans
speak.
came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the Shrine of Persephone became the Shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the Temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans.
I'm with you so far.
However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me.
What?
And it is the very thing you seek.
The
An
Egyptian?
even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
What did it say?
We had no idea until years later when the
I
first
don't
of my
know
friends
much about
began to
Egyptian
die.
gods, if that's where
As a
you're
result of
going.
their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off.
Like, I
from
know
this
some names,
camp
but I don't know
to
what
lay
they
them to
are
rest.
for.
We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our
Because it used to be in
possessions.
Egypt City?
You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail.
What's in there?
There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
Alright. I'll be
I
going
enjoyed
now.
our chat, but please.
Yeah, no,
keep my
I won't tell
presence
anyone.
here a secret.
Don't know if they'd believe me anyways. Sculpture for an Greek general.
Ah, you've returned.
Not really, just looking around. That's just a drop. That's what we do.
You've returned.
Not yet, I'm just looking. Alright. I'm just gonna do a quick save. And let's go see what's in here. Because apparently it seems to imply friend of the philosopher. Seems to imply that essentially the Greeks did the same thing the Romans did to them to the Egyptians that were here beforehand. Which, you know, who knows if the Egyptians also did it to other people? I don't know. This could be going on for as long as humanity has existed, I guess. It's so dark. Can I take this torch? No? Okay. Guess I'll just follow the light. Don't mind me, I'll always take some arrows, Egyptian bases. Egyptian board game. The clothes kind of look different too. It's hard to tell with just the pure gold. Oh god, it's so dark. Because down the stairs we go. To wherever this rabbit hole leads us. I don't know. Hopefully if something happens they let me use my bow. This is intense. No. Mummy. Ha! That's okay. It's like, how did you up there? Now I just run because I don't know what's going on. I can't look at everything. Did they stop following me? Egyptian plaque. Like the actual Egyptian plaque? Or just a Egyptian plaque? The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. Yep, definitely an Egyptian temple. Are you Kabosh?
Stop. Do not come any closer. Who are you?
I'm Adam. Who are you?
I am Kabash.
Hey, Kabosh.
And let me guess. Another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors.
No, man, I'm older. I am neither.
To what end?
I want to return it to the obelisk.
That is welcome news. You really
No,
are
I'm not Greek or Roman,
are
Kabosh.
you? I was planning to return
I'm
it
here
myself,
to help.
but for now, I must remain.
As best I can.
Here, take it and restore the honor of Osiris.
Cyrus, Lord of Silence?
Now, as for the other plaque.
The fourth plaque? You know about that?
Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was.
What? May I have it?
You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it.
Kabosh, why?
Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie.
How so?
I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is?
The Duat? Because I'm an archaeologist.
Indeed, and I see you
As much
know
as I
our
personally
history.
had no idea.
This is the Duat. See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers. But instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it.
I'm
removing
assuming
his
it
name
essentially
and
is implying the
replacing
same
it
thing,
with
that there was a god before
Hades.
Osiris then.
Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew.
So what's your problem with this plaque?
It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere
I mean, it
imitations
seems like
too,
everyone is just
copied and
doing the same
corrupted
thing
from
to
an
everyone
ancient
at this
people
point.
who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this I cannot accept.
Come on,
I
Kabosh.
sense a deception.
You know
Perhaps
better.
it is the work of Set,
I hope.
the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more.
What does the inscription say?
You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the
Kabosh.
black abyss below in Osiris's name.
Kabosh. Please don't.
You are too late. It
Kabosh.
is done.
I really wish you hadn't
It
done
could
that.
not have gone any other way. It was Osiris's will. Now, the thing of evil you sought is gone. Why are you still here?
Well, I guess let's just go down the line again.
I am from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was
Don't
a
really want to know your
fisherman,
information
like my
now because you
father
threw down my
before me.
mystery
Since
plaque,
the
and
Romans
I have to
had taken over
venture
from
and
the
get it,
Greeks,
and I
took
don't
the
want to because
opportunity
it's
to
probably in
learn
somewhere
Latin
scary.
And eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kirti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kirti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead.
Do you know a way out of here?
This is where I belong, as
That's
caretaker
fine.
of
I
the
wanna get
memories
out,
of
though.
my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it
I mean, I
falls
get
to
that,
me.
Kabosh, but you've just assumed that your people are better and that they wouldn't have done what the Greeks and Romans did, even though I feel like by the progression of the story, your people probably did the same thing as well. That's why you got rid of the plaque, because it looked older and you were like, no, nothing's before us. You just did the same thing they did, and now I have to go and find that.
I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me. For I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will
means.
come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods.
That's fair. What do you think is down there?
I do not know. What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is infinite darkness. Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls.
Perhaps
All
it's an
I know
older
is
city,
it would be
another
unwise
place.
to venture down there.
I know it would be, but I have to.
Most unwise.
That's all I got, Kabosh.
Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go
Yeah,
down
I am.
there.
I need that plaque.
I see it in your eyes. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
I'll find a way back up.
We shall see.
I don't want to go, but I need that plaque. So I'm going to save. Look around a little bit before I go. Try to muster up the courage. You've been sleeping down here, I'm assuming. Ram Hedges is probably Curti. Alright.
You are still here.
Goodbye. Sumerian plaque. Nurgle. So as I said, an older civilization where you presumably did the same thing to their people and such. Alright. Just means I have to get out of here. You're pointing, so I'm hoping this is a way out. Agent's not here. Stranger, heed the final words of Namkuzu. Bear witness to our aftermath and lament us. We did our best to live as the gods commanded. We planted and harvested together. We shared bread and beer. We accepted newcomers with open arms as a family, but with each newcomer, the bonds of our family strained. And soon we were as strangers to each other, and when those bonds were finally broken, my brothers and sisters planted only for themselves and ate and drank alone. And it was there, in the empty space between us, that sin took root. Nurgle's sentinels have awoken and clamor at our barricades. Learn from our assume it's supposed to be mistakes. Scurry. Well, I'm going to leave the exploration of this presumably Sumerian city to the next episode, because what a better point to end. And I kind of don't want to go further at the moment because I don't know what I'm going to find, and it's dark. This game won't let me use my bow. But yeah, so this was a lot. Things keep happening. And there's a lot of plaques, apparently. Because there's 4. Which I don't remember what they are. I'm thinking of 6. I have... Not that one. I have the Egyptian plaque, the Sumerian plaque. I don't have the Greek one, and then the Roman one. So that would be all of them. So at least based on this, if there's not an older one, I'm assuming that the Sumerian plaque is actually like the original one then. But I mean, I was gonna say, assuming that this is true, then this is another thing of just indicating that, the Roman plaque is the newest one, and even that one is, quote, being removed by a new religion and such. And as Kabash, I think, said, the cycle continues. But and yeah, that's in Dooley's thing, I think. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen next. We'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, we got answers. We have more questions. I don't know. The cycle continues. And the cycle will continue next episode. So I'll see everyone then. Goodbye.